Thank you, Co-Chair Kit Flores. Before we proceed with the interpellation, let me recognize Congressman Jojo Lara to deliver his opening speech. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning po sa ating lahat. To the honorable chairpersons of this joint committee, Congressman Joseph Stephen Caraps Paduano and Congressman John Kit Flores of Suffrage and Electoral Reforms, the honorable members of the joint committee, resource persons and guests, good morning and thank you for your presence in today's committee hearing. Today, we continue our fight in the pursuit of electoral integrity and transparency. House Resolutions number 145 and 146 aim to probe the gross and massive unlawful disbursements and accountability of public funds in the province of Cagayan in aid of legislation orchestrated by Governor Manuel N. Mamba and PGC employees during the 2022 national and local elections. With the 8 previous hearings conducted almost a year ago, we have uncovered the grim truth that transpired during the 2022 national local election in the province of Cagayan. Ano po ang mga ito? Una, cash advances were rendered by 14 employees amounting to 320 million pesos 10 days bago ang election day. Nauna sa lahat ay walang legal na basehan dahil wala sa circulating COA rules ang pinaggamitan ng circular ng COA ang pinaggamitan ng. Take note ng findings ng COA in the report only pertains to the disbursement 10 days bago election. How about the cash advances made from March 25 to April 27? Hanggang ngayon, hindi pa nailalabas yung total cash advances despite the interviews made by no less than Mamba. Video recorded and shown in Bombo was presented here at this very committee hearing. Himself stating na hindi lang 320 million ang pinamigay niya, kundi 600 to 700 million o higit pa at kailangan nga daw 800 million dahil higit 800,000 ang botante ng Cagayan. At kinumpirma na ito ni Vice Governor Vargas na noong nakaraang mga hearing, walang ordinansang pinasa ang Sangguniang Panlalawigan sa pamamahagi ng tig-1,000 piso sa bawat botante ng Cagayan. Bilang karagdagan, maraming requirements sa batas na hindi naman na-comply bago na-release ang nasabing cash advances. Isa na lamang dyan ang pagpa-file ng cash bond bago mag-cash advance. Mismong ang department head na si Helen Donato, isa sa mga department head yan ng provincial government, ang nagsabi at pinagyabang pa dito sa hearing na ito na ang pagkakaalam niya ay pwede siyang magkaroon ng unlimited cash advance kahit na wala siyang sapat na cash bond na final sa Bureau of Treasury. Si Provincial Jail Warden Catalino Tommy Arugay ay pinayagan din ng mag-cash advance for alleged pandemic relief assistance kahit na ang posisyon niya ay wala namang kinalaman sa nasabing purpose and despite being under oath, pabago-bago ang kanyang mga statement. Nakonfirma rin na noong na-distribute ng financial assistance sila Mamba during the prohibited period ay wala silang approved certificate of exception. As confirmed by Attorney Rafael Olano, the decision partially approving the certificate of exception was only promulgated on May 25, that is 16 days after election. He further concluded that the effectivity of the approval by the COMELEC could only take effect on the day of its promulgation, which was May 25, again 16 days after election. No less than the provincial agriculturist Perlita Mabasa also admitted na may task force na binuo for the distribution of 1,000 pesos per individual during a time na covered ng election ban. Mga empleyado din ng provincial government ang mga membro ng task force na ito. Narinig din natin na maging ang radio program, Rabombo, kung saan ginagamit ni Mamba bilang plataforma niya sa pag-eere ng kanyang mga komentaryo at pangbabatikos na pag-alaman sa nakaraang hearing na ang pondong binabayad sa Bombo Radio ay excessive according to COA and it was beyond the appropriated amount as confirmed by Vice Governor Vargas. Sa mga nakaraang pagdinig ng komite, kinumpirma ng Land Bank na may withdrawals na ginawa ang PGC during the prohibited period noong 2022 national and local election. Hindi lang yun, napag-alaman din po na hanggang gabi ng Biyernes, may delivery pa ng cash withdrawals. Ngunit nitong mga nagdaang hearings, nung tinanong na ang proseso kung paano ginawa itong withdrawals na ito at kung pwede silang mag-release ng necessary documents or information regarding sa withdrawal, ang depensa ng Land Bank ay hindi nila maaaring sagutin o i-release ang mga ito dahil sa Bank Secrecy Act. Dahil sa Bank Secrecy Act, despite that these funds that we're talking about are public funds. Sa COA naman, simula pa nung una, laging nirarason ni Mamba at PGC officials na cleared naman ang transactions nila sa COA. And during the course of the hearing, may mga constituents pa tayo who have constantly texted me na parang nag-aabogado si Auditor Eric Reyes for the provincial government sa kanyang mga kasagutan, and they were asking me bakit for several years walang ginawa ang COA despite the apparent illegality of transactions. But through the factual findings in these congressional hearings, COA finally released its findings and notices of these allowances na indeed may mga illegalities and irregularities committed by the provincial government of Cagayan officials. At dahil sa mga nadiscover natin during the past hearings, we now see the gaps and loopholes in our election laws, COA rules, and regulations, COMELEC procedure, as well as the problems in their implementation. That despite the blatant violations committed by the concerned government officials, no legal sanctions were imposed. All these need to be addressed by enacting laws appropriate in addressing the issues we have identified through these hearings. While significant strides have been made in holding accountable the concerned public officials for their transgressions, numerous outstanding issues remain unaddressed. The unresponsive behavior of the employees of the Land Bank of the Philippines and the seeming reluctance of concerned honorable commissioners from the COMELEC during our past scheduled hearings, notwithstanding the persistent and earnest invitations from this joint committee, underscore the urgent need for comprehensive legislations and possible policy reform. The unreasonable refusal of key stakeholders to participate in this inquiry impedes our ability to uncover the truth and formulate responsive legislative measures. It is a disservice to the Filipino people who deserve a government that prioritizes accountability and transparency in electoral processes and of public funds. With all that have been heard, transpired, and seen, ang tingin ng ating mga kababayan ay isa ito na grand conspiracy. Sa araw na ito na ating pagdinig, sana magkaroon na ng kasagutan yung iba at ang mga natirang mga katanungan ay masasagot na. Dahil matagal na sanang natapos ito kung naging cooperative lang ang mga concerned agencies and officials na kayang sagutin at i-clarify lahat ang ating mga katanungan at katanungan ng ating mga kababayan. It is my dire wish to end this issue, Mr. Chair, and give our kababayans the justice they deserve. Maraming salamat po, mabalo na imbaga bigat kanya tayo amin na po.
Thank you, Kong Lara. Anyway, with the indulgence of all the resource persons being invited in today's hearing, and I hope this will be the last hearing except siguro kung may mga agencies or resource person being invited na hindi pa bastante yung mga sagot saka yung mga data na this committee needs. Again, with the indulgence of all the resource person, unahin na po natin yung COMELEC kasi alam naman natin busy siya yung COMELEC in preparation for the ngayon, tuloy-tuloy yung registration saka yung filing will be on October. So, again, with the indulgence of other resource persons, unahin na po natin yung COMELEC. Thank you po. Anybody wants to address the COMELEC? Question? Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To our invited guests from the COMELEC. How many were invited, COMSEC, from COMELEC? How many?
Mr. Chair, we invited three commissioners. All from, Mr. Chair, we invited three commissioners from
Three.
from Division 1.
Okay. And they are all present.
They are here except for Commissioner Inting.
Commissioner Inting is a member of the division, also invited.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Duly received ang invitation.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Is there any excuse why? Is there any letter why she's unable to attend?
As of yesterday, they have no
feedback.
Yes.
No confirmation din from the part on the part of Wala.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. My question actually is more on the procedure, the rules of procedure of COMELEC. So any of the invited guests may answer it now. I just want to know what is the period within which a division is supposed to decide on a case?
COMELEC, please reply. Anybody from the commissioners or Attorney Ulano? Please proceed, sir.
Good morning, Your Honors. Based on our rules, if these are special action cases or disqualification cases, it should be decided by the division within 5 days after being submitted for resolution, Your Honors.
Within 5 days. And when is a case deemed submitted for resolution?
When all the pleadings have been submitted, Your Honors.
When all the pleadings have been submitted. So 5 days. Now, if it is, the rules of procedure are actually made by the commissioners themselves, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Is it mandatory or the periods stated in the rules?
Well, there's a decision of the Supreme Court which says that these periods are mere permissive or directory, Your Honors, Mr. Chair.
What Supreme Court decision is that, Attorney Ulano?
I can't anymore remember, Your Honor, the exact title of the case, but I remember it's should be a merely directory, Your Honors.
Because
Mr.
I also
Chair.
remember that there's also a Supreme Court decision stating that because of the nature of the complaints, then the COMELEC should also speedily dispose of these cases. Is that correct?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Maceda, if I could...
Please proceed.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I'd like to thank this committee for inviting us and for the initial remarks, especially from the Chairman of Public Accounts and the Vice Chair also, expressing their respect for the independence of our institution and also for assuring us that this is not, which we're not thinking anyway, no? That this is not in any way an effort to influence, but it's an assurance of a collaborative effort on both our institutions' parts. Actually, when it comes to the rules on rendition of judgment, it has been established from jurisprudence, and I think the jurisprudence the chair is looking for is Alvarez versus Alvarez versus COMELEC. It's a case involving a barangay in Quezon City, where the Supreme Court said that while recognizing the provisions of the Constitution on the rendition of judgments, they also recognize that because of manpower and logistics limitations, then the procedural requirement on deadlines must be treated realistically. So aside from this, Your Honor, there is also the issue of complexity of the issues, or there are some cases that are more time sensitive, like for example, where there are petitions for cancellation of certificate of candidacy, 5 days lang ho yun. Or there are times during election season where there's a surge of cases. So this is the reason, Your Honor, why there is the guidance from the Supreme Court that these rules of procedure, when it comes to rendition, are to be treated as directory. But we do attempt to comply with the letter of these rules and these provisions in as much as we can. But inevitably, there are times where there are lags in the cases. And this is one such case, Your Honor, because of the sheer number of counts of violation of Section 261V, no? And the volume of the documents that we had to undergo. No? So this is one I'm referring to the second case that was mentioned by the chair.